right, Jamie Had, welcome to this special virtual summit. Dang, I wish somebody would have told me that. A really great way to connect with the mindset of the entrepreneur and really discovering, shortcutting what I think is like, I really genuinely wish somebody would have told me that. So before we get started with what you do and what you're about, how are you?
I'm good. Yes, I'm super excited to be here and to share with everyone kind of a little bit about my journey as an entrepreneur.
And with that said, share with the viewer a little bit about yourself, please.
Yes, well, as you said, I'm Jamie Hand, and overall, I've had this overarching theme of creativity. Like my whole life, that's been what has really motivated me. What is my interest and passion is creativity, creative thinking, and helping others develop their own creative thinking as well. Back in school when you had the option of like a book report or building the diorama with like all the little crafts in the shoebox,
Yeah.
I was totally the person that was like, oh, diorama, because that is what I have always been about. And my entrepreneurial journey has been twisty and windy, which we can get into in a little bit. But who I basically help is I have been helping teachers, helping their students promote creative thinking. But now I'm stepping into the role of also helping female entrepreneurs develop their own creative and innovative thinking to reach that next level of success.
I love it. I love what you have to say. Oh, just because, like, if you really think about it, I know personally, some of my most creative moments have been when you're just like in what I call like a creative space. Like I'll go out for my walk, or I'm sitting there like grounding, or even in the shower. And I'm like, man, I wish I had more of these moments, when I get out of my left brain analytical thinking. And so what I really see you is being at the threshold of the right brain and being like, come on in. This is where all the
Yes.
magic happens, which is really
Yes. That's exactly it. And you are so right. Like a lot of times the best ideas come in the shower. I mean, that happens to me all the time. And so it's being in that, I call it a flow state. When you're just in that flow, the ideas just come through. And then it's okay, which idea is the right one? And then taking action on it.
yeah.
So there is a process you can go through, but that flow state is different to each person. Like I'm very hands-on creative, but it may be a totally different type of creative activity, which could be gardening, walking. I mean, there's so many different things that we don't think of. It's not just like drawing or playing an instrument. It's so much more.
And so then what you do is help people to discover their thing to get them into the flow state.
Yes. So to help discover what gets you into that flow state, then how do you take action after that as well?
That's brilliant. And then tell me why it matters so much what you do in your opinion.
Well, it's growing up, I was always like, why don't other people think creativity is so important? Like, why is it always so downplayed? But then I realized, like, we each have our own unique gift and talent that we are here to bring and share with the world. And so mine is that creativity, that creative thinking side. So I'm here to help inspire others to do that. So if everyone felt like I did, then we wouldn't need it. But I truly believe, and this is why I started working as a teacher with children, even, is that we each have a gift to develop, we each have a talent to share. And can you imagine if the world, what it would be like if everyone worked from that place? Like everyone worked from the place of, this is my gift, this is my talent, I am sharing this,
Yeah.
instead of oh, well, I'm expected to do this or I should do this.
Well,
It would be so different.
well, can I just tell you what you're really presenting is just a new way of thinking where it's very um, guided by creativity instead of saying, this outline, make sure to memorize it because we're going to get our test. It just moves you from it's apples and oranges. It's dramatically different, and the value that creativity can bring long term is so much better because I know for me personally, I was a good student and everything, But I don't remember a lot of the stuff that I was taught because I was just taught to learn, like, you have to remember this and to memorize
Yes,
this, as opposed to
exactly.
imagine honing the skills of creativity. What would it have meant if I really would have sharpened that skill set right
Yes.
from the beginning? So I think what you do is so priceless. Okay, so question for you. When we were at the beginning, you said, okay, this whole entrepreneurial journey has been twisty, curvy, turvy, whatever. What is the number one struggle after looking at that trajectory that you see for aspiring entrepreneurs or women, maybe who are just at the beginning stages, and why they can't get their business off the ground?
Right away, the answer is overthinking and not taking action. I see so many, and just even friends, like even in just a social setting, like get into the overthinking of, oh, wait, should I do this? Should I do this? What, how's this going to look? And, we do many different things. Like if you're a mom, you're run a business, you're entrepreneur, you have social life, you have family life, you have all these different hats you wear. And I almost feel like we get stuck in just, okay, I'm going to be this person for this person for this thing, instead of just being our authentic self and then just doing it.
Yeah.
So even as an entrepreneur, embrace who you are and just do it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Right.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell my kids. I'm like, so what? That happens. And then what? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
But at least trying is going to, or like doing it, taking action. I hate the word trying. Doing the thing is going to give you some kind of feedback that you can work with.
Yes. It's either a lesson or it's a blessing. That's what I like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to learn from it, or it's, going to turn into something awesome. But either way, you're at least moving forward and not staying stuck in repeated cycles. I think that can easily happen. I know for a long time it was with, like, when I first started my business, I was trying to emulate everyone else, and oh, they do this and they do this. So just being who no well, I'm giving away some of my tips here, so I don't want to go too
Okay. Okay. So
much.
let's segue to the tip. So let's do your dang, wish somebody would have told me that 3 tips. What would be your tip number one?
Okay, tip number 1 is know yourself even better than you do right now.
Mm,
And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I know myself. But no, I'm talking like deep dive, not just what your favorite color is, or that you like to write, or you like to, like I know I don't like bookkeeping. Like I'm talking deeper level. Get to know almost your subconscious level of who you are.
mhm,
So I have a story to share that kind of
mhm.
goes along with this tip. It was about a year ago, I had a human design reading done. Now, I am not a human design reader. And so if you're not familiar, you can go Google it, look it up, and learn lots of things. But I read this reading about me, and it's kind of like astrology. It's based on your birth date and location and all that, all the alignment stuff like that. And I had never felt so seen in my life, because when I first started my business, I had my first website, but then I was like interested in this and I was interested in this. And I could not focus on one thing. And many coaches and mentors were like, Jamie, even my own husband was like, Jamie, just do this.
Mhm.
And I honestly could not just do it. And it wasn't like I couldn't focus. I could focus, but I felt like I just had to do more and like had all these other interests. Well, I get this reading done, and the first thing it says is, you are a multi passionate creative doer. And I'm
Mm,
like, yes, I am multi passionate. Like, I have to be working on several different projects almost at the same time. Uh, and that actually helps me focus more and gain more clarity on all the projects. So this past year, I gave myself a little experiment of just, hey, you have permission to explore every project. Now, I get a lot of ideas, and not everyone am I like running off to go do. So I do try to clarify, okay, what is this a project I want to develop further? But this past year, I really gave myself the space to then dive into the projects. And the funny thing that has happened is in my main revenue growing business, I've actually been gained more clarity and more structure around that by allowing myself more time to experiment with other projects.
I love it.
Yes.
I love that. So you leaned into your natural way
My
of,
natural way to do it, which is
yeah,
very unconventional, especially with online business and online marketing. They're always like, oh, ride that one horse, ride that one horse.
right,
Well,
right.
for me personally, that one horse was holding me back. The resistance to it just
Yeah.
restricted me. And so once I gave myself just the grace and permission to explore, then that opened up a lot more avenues for me.
I love
So
that.
yeah, so you listening, you may not be like me. So I'm not saying everyone's multi-passionate, don't go diving into every project, but understand who you are and what works for you.
Mhm, mhm, love it. All right, what about tip number 2 of, "Damn, wish somebody would have told me that."
Tip number 2 is where you start is not where you will end up.
Mhm.
And I'm a great example of that as well. I started my very first website as art activities for kids, and I was gearing it towards parents. And so I'm like, okay, because I was a parent, I had young children, actually was pregnant with my third child when I decided to start a website. And I was like, okay, parents are going to want this. Well, it turns out as I had things to offer and workshops and lessons, that it was teachers buying, which is really not a surprise because I have a teacher background. So I probably had that teacher aspect to it. But it was teachers that were actually buying my products. And the more I kept trying to market the parents, the more teachers I got. So I had to stop and realize that and pivot and say, okay, well, obviously I have something that teachers need here. How can I develop that further? Which then has led along twisting, turning. And now I'm stepping into, as I said, helping female entrepreneurs use these almost the same skills that I have taught children and have taught teachers.
Wow.
But now, how do you apply it in a business context? Now, if you go back to when I was doing those art activities, I never would have thought this is where I am now. And
Right.
who knows what's ahead in the future? I'm very excited to see. But you don't know, but you have to, as we've said, take that step to move forward, even if you're not sure what it is.
And really the way that you're talking about it is that it's really exploratory for you.
Yes.
Like, you just
Yes.
lean into it and you see, okay, whatever unfolds is where it's supposed to go. You're not It's really cool how you do that, and as a result, the success that you had is pretty cool, the way that things just unfold and you go where the hungry crowd is. Do you know what I mean? Because that's in essence
Yes.
what we're seeing, is that we may think, "Oh, this is perfect for this group," but in your case, it was teachers, so then you shifted to meet the needs of that hungry crowd, which obviously is super smart to do, and it just unfolded in that way, but it never would have gotten you there had you not taken that action like you talked about in the other part. So that's super smart. Okay, so what about tip number 3?
Okay. Tip number 3 is be transformational. So, what I mean by that is a lot of times, as I'm speaking, I'm going to generalize for a little bit here,
Okay.
speaking about women in general, that we sometimes can hold ourselves back or play it small to stay safe, when really we naturally transform things. As women, are naturally transformers. So, what I mean is, for example, once again, this is a generalization, but if you have food, a lot of times as women, we can turn that food into a whole meal. Or if we have decorations, we can turn that into a whole celebration. We can take a house or a home or our house and turn it into like a home where our family functions. We can take our like a holiday and make it a family tradition. So we naturally do this kind of transformation um, in all things. And so I think as business women, we can do that in our business. And so much of the old way is focused on the sales and the transaction. And yes, all of that is important. But I feel like there's a shift and a change, especially in the online marketing, where that all kind of like the old ways, quote unquote, are kind of crumbling or falling away. And I really feel it's us female entrepreneurs that are going to break through with these new ways of doing things by focusing on the transformations that we provide. Whether if you sell skincare, well, yes, you sell the lotion, but you're selling like that inner self worthiness to women,
I
like
love
focusing on that. I could say I sell lesson plans to teachers, but no, I sell the transformation teachers can give their students to be innovative thinkers that are going to build our future world. Like, I mean, it's such a difference when we focus on that transformation and we naturally do it. And so if we bring attention to it and be like, yes, I'm a badass. Like, yes, I can do this. Yes, I have permission to step into this role and be this transformational, powerhouse. And it's to go along with that, it's also the transformation in ourselves. So we have to step into that role and then that trickles out as well. So it's that inner transformation of stepping into that person who can do that and creating that transformational like movement essentially.
I love it. I love what you're saying. Okay, so let's recap. So number one
Yeah.
was know yourself even better than you do right now. Number two is where you start is not where you will end up. And number three is be transformational.
Yes.
All amazing tips. Really, really powerful. Jamie, thank you so much for sharing that because it was really brilliant. And I love the idea that you said with the be transformational. It's like even if you think about it, you don't sell lesson plans. It's so like sterile. What you sell is that creativity that's going to change
Yes.
the leaders of the future. That gave me chills. So
Yes.
when you look at that, like just by saying that and being bold and owning that you are transformational and what you bring right to the market, that's going to connect with people at such a deep level that that's going to stand out. So I'm a big proponent of, everyone zagging when everybody else is zigging. So
Hmm.
I love that. I love the way that you explained that. I think it's so essential for us to step into that transformational way of being because it is so true. We're all bringing our flair to it. So just own it in the most boldest way that you can.
Yes.
I think it's genius.
Well, and to help everyone,
Yeah.
I created a creative exercise to help people step into that transformation. It's a little creative exercise, looks like this. Don't worry if you can't draw. It's okay. There's no drawing experience needed. I walk you through the whole process, but actually taking a look at our past, present, and future self and how you can start today stepping into that role and being that transformational whatever that is for you, like whatever that future self is, start being that today. So I have a video that can walk everyone through that through the link that I'll share. I don't know if you want me to just say it or we'll put it up.
Both. So if you want to say it, go ahead. It'll
Okay.
of course, right below this video, you're going to see all the links of how to get a hold of Jamie.
Yes. So you can go to jamiehan.com/Patty, and that will take you to the video to get the creative exercise.
Excellent. And that's Patty with a Y, everyone. Patty with a Y.
Yes.
That's the only
Mhm.
way to really spell it. All right, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us for the summit. I love your tips. They're so powerful, transformational, inspirational, and very creative. And definitely for those viewers that are watching this, take advantage of what Jamie has to offer because she's truly an expert in this realm and really diving into creativity is going to net you greater innovation, ideation, transformation. It's really powerful, the work that Jamie does. So I highly endorse her work as well. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure.